Lost Valley in the Buffalo National River region is neither lost nor a valley, but it's more of a ravine or a gorge, and it's our first stop on this week's show. Then we'll take you to a Native American bluff shelter at Petit Mountain State Park, a bluff shelter that is unique in the state with all the pictographs inside. And then we'll wrap it all up at Jacksonport State Park near Newport, a one-time thriving riverport on the banks of the White River. So for now, let's explore Lost Valley. Lost Valley is one of those extra special places in Arkansas that, thank goodness, has been preserved for generations to come. Located 1 mile south of Ponca off Highway 43, Lost Valley is part of the Buffalo National River Park system and is federally protected, and rightfully so. Even though the Garden of Eden supposedly was located in the Middle East, it could have very well been here. The best time to visit Lost Valley is during periods of high water, because that's when the waterfall extravaganza is turned on. Your first wondrous spectacle on this 2-mile round-trip hike into paradise, which follows Clark Creek, is the waterfall coming out from underneath this natural bridge. Throughout the ages, the stream has cut through about 50 feet of limestone to create this impressive sight. Farther up the trail, it gets even better as you become more amazed with this, a bluff shelter once used by Native Americans between 1,000 and 2,000 years ago. It's called Cobb Cave, named after the many corn cobs that were later unearthed here, left by the Indians. It's difficult to portray the enormous size of this shelter, 150 feet deep, 50 feet high, 260 feet from end to end. Archaeologists have conducted repeated digs here since 1931. In the late 1800s, it served as a Sunday meeting place with all-day singing. After all, it is the perfect band shell. Continuing up the trail, like I mentioned, the sights just get better and better. Beyond Cobb Cave is what you might say is the grand finale, a magnificent series of waterfalls cascading down in steps along a 200-foot gorge. Paradise? Garden of Eden? Well, interestingly enough, when a National Geographic photographer visited this area in 1945 with the state's then publicity director, Bud Green, even before leaving the area, Green named the series of waterfalls Eden Falls, and the entire canyon, the Lost Valley. Once again, though, there's more. If you continue following the trail up from Eden Falls, you'll come to Eden Falls Cave. Now, if you take this hike and you plan on entering Eden Falls Cave, by all means take with you at least 2 reliable sources of light in case one fails. Now, there are 2 passageways into the cave. If you go straight, you'll encounter a low ceiling in which you got to crawl for a while on your hands and knees. If you veer off to the right, you can stay upright all the time, but you got to squeeze through some real tight and narrow passageways. So we're going to, I guess, take the lesser of 2 evils and veer off to the right. If you venture 200 feet or so into the cave, you'll be rewarded with an underground waterfall. The wonders never cease in Lost Valley. Come and experience it for yourself. It's the flagship of the Arkansas State Park system, Petit Mountain State Park near Morrilton. Construction of the hiking trails here began in 1933 with the Civilian Conservation Corps, and with the hike down to Cedar Falls being the most popular. But there are other trails here that are just as awesome, and we'd like to take you on a couple of them that are well worth the hike. Our first trek is on the Rockhouse Cave Trail, which leads to a Native American rock shelter. Joining us is park interpreter B.T. Jones. So this is the turtle rock formations that we see down here.
That's right. Especially on the left up here, there's I call it a whole herd of turtles.
B.T. explained to us just exactly how these rocks resembling huge turtle shells formed.
This used to be an ancient beach a long time ago, and as water has eroded away over the millions of years, it's left these patterns in the stone. There's some quartz content in this sandstone. It's called a hartshorn formation. The quartz causes the rock in some places to be harder than others. So when the water falls, it erodes the softer part of the sandstone away and leaves the harder part, and it just so happens that it leaves it in the pattern of a square on a turtle shell.
This is one of those easy trails and short. Only a quarter of a mile down the path and you're at the Rockhouse. Yeah, this is really something. Tell us this indentation in this rock here. What is this all about?
Well, this is a grinding bowl, and I think archaeologists aren't exactly sure how old it is, but it's been here for a long time. And you can see that it's a place where Native Americans once ground grain, perhaps acorns or maybe corn if they were here long enough to raise crops. And the very bottom of it, there's another indentation. It's kind of like a mortar and pestle, where they could grind things, scoop it out, and make flour, make food.
What is so interesting and unique about this Native American rock shelter is the number of pictographs it contains, 105, more than any other such shelter in the state, offering a glimpse into Arkansas's prehistoric heritage.
These Native Americans predated the tribes that Europeans found in Arkansas when they first arrived here. There were Quapaw in southeastern Arkansas, a very old tribe called the Caddo in southwestern Arkansas, and some Osage in northwestern Arkansas, northern Arkansas. These Native Americans were here a long time before that, and they were hunter-gatherers. They moved around. They probably used this for shelter during cold months like we are having right now. Whenever I introduce people to the Rockhouse Cave, I show them a picture of a paddlefish, and I've got that picture right here. A lot of people don't know what this is. This is a fish that lives in the Arkansas River today, but may have lived in bodies of water near here back during that time. They caught this paddlefish in a trap maybe, and to show people how big the fish is, I have this picture. And there's another color picture here of the paddlefish swimming around under the water using its gills as a rake for food.
Now these pictographs depict that.
Yes, there's a pictograph in the back of the Rockhouse Cave of a paddlefish and a trap beneath it, what archaeologists believe is a trap. This is what the Native American may have looked like who did some drawing in here. This is an artist's rendition. There are artifacts found in the Rockhouse Cave from as far back as the Paleo-Indian period, and that's when Native Americans first came into this area of what is now the United States. That's probably around 9000 BC. And more likely, the Indians who drew the pictographs that we've been looking at were from the Mississippian period, and that's a mere 900 to 1500 years ago.
Now, I don't guess there's a way that archaeologists have been able to find out as to what the images mean, or what the Native Americans, what they were thinking of when they were doing this at that time.
Some images, like the paddlefish, are pretty clearly animals and representations of animals. Others are abstracts, and they could be a symbol or a motif, which those early tribes could have known here and there together what they meant, but today that meaning has been lost. 1,000 years from now, someone probably won't know what a smooth check on the side of a tennis shoe means, and we all know it's a Nike.
Now, some of these were actually like drawn, and some of these were actually pecked into the rock, right?
Right. The pictographs are the ones that are drawn, and the paint they used was probably made from the iron deposits. You see in the walls here, there's some dark veins, and that's iron ore. They probably crushed up maybe in the same place where they crushed their food in the bowl, and mixed with animal fat, maybe animal blood, egg yolks, egg albumin. And when the paint was created, they put it on the sandstone, and the sandstone is porous, so it readily absorbed the paint, and it's still here today. The iron is part of the sandstone.
That's why it's been able to last that long. And
that's right. That's why it hasn't. If they'd merely used blood or berry juice or something like that, this stuff would have faded out a long time ago.
Our next hiking destination is the Bear Cave Sandstone Crevice area, and doing the honors with us on this quarter-of-a-mile hike is park interpreter Michelle Hunt.
Surface of the boulders, you'll notice that many of them are covered with. These are giant sandstone boulders you can see all around you, and they are part of the Hartshorn Formation, Hartshorn sandstone, and it's about 300 million years old. And if you look through the valleys created by water over these millions of years, you can just get a unique perspective on the geology of Petit Jean State Park.
So this was all underwater?
Yes, a lot of Arkansas was part of an ancient sea. And of course, sandstone's a type of sedimentary rock, and it's kind of on the soft side, so it does erode fairly easily. And if you look at the tops of the boulders, you can see how the stone has eroded a little bit, enough to create a fine layer of soil, and trees can grow on the tops of these boulders. There's some pine trees and some other assorted shrubs growing, and also lichen grows on the surface of these rocks. And lichen's a symbiotic relationship between fungi and algae. The fungi provide a home for the algae, and the algae use the sun's energy to produce sugars that help the fungus.
Yeah, that lichen looks like somebody just kind of spray painted
yes,
it.
It comes in all different colors. The unique lichen that we have here in the park is orange, and we'll see some of that later. It's beautiful.
One of the most prominent and striking features along this hike is referred to as the Eye of the Needle.
As you're walking through here, you might want to look up and you can see a unique feature called the eye of the needle. And that's basically where the two rock faces almost touch. And if you look up, the immensity of the boulders is what's amazing. They're huge and they make an individual person feel kind of small.
I guess maybe they were at one time connected.
Yes, they were. And this is another great example of how water can erode rock over time.
You know, I guess like people come here and most of them want to hike down to the falls, but then there's this part of the park that's just awesome.
Yes, this is one of my favorite trails in the park. And if you look right in here, there's a little mini cave. We can poke our heads in here if you'd like.
Yeah, sure is. That's really neat.
It's a lot warmer. Huh. And you can actually see it is wet inside.
So Bear Cave is just a tad farther.
Yes, just a little bit further. Before we reach Bear Cave, however, there is this other unique rock formation, and when we bring school kids here, they really love it. We call it Skull Rock.
Yeah, I can see it. So Michelle, I guess as with all cave names, there's a story or a legend that supposedly goes along with this one.
Yes, there is a legend called the Legend of Bear Cave. And if you look up here, you can see the actual cave. Two men one day were out hunting, and as the legend goes, they were walking around the Bear Cave area and they saw an American black bear, and they were so frightened they ran to the edge of this rock outcrop and scrambled up into the cave in order to get away from the bear. And then they realized when they were up in the cave that they had guns, and apparently that's how the legend got its name. They shot the last bear on Petit Jean Mountain.
Steamboats are what made Jacksonport a thriving river port here along the White River during the 1800s, and the Mary Woods II remains here as a proud symbol of that era. But there's much more here, Civil War history and the White River itself. So let's explore Jacksonport State Park. Upon becoming a thriving river port, Jacksonport then became the county seat in 1854. Construction of this two-story brick courthouse began in 1869. The bricks were actually manufactured in Jacksonport. The courthouse served a twofold purpose. Courtroom drama could be seen by day, and then at night, the courtroom became a place for social gatherings, as the benches were pushed back to make room for dancing and celebrations. When bypassed by the new railroad in the late 1880s and the county seat was moved to nearby Newport, Jacksonport began to decline, and the steamboat rivertown boom was all but over. The courthouse stood empty for a while and then was used as a public school, a cotton gin, a granary, and for 43 years, from 1910 to 1953, it served as Jackson County's poorhouse, then finally giving way to wild animals. What was once the county's most impressive building turned into an empty, abandoned shell. That is, until the 1960s.
It was through the Jackson County Historic Society that saved the courthouse and then did the first restoration. After the restoration, then it was turned into a state park. That was the first part of it. We also have the monument that you see behind me here. And that's in memory of the 1st Regiment, or actually the 1st Company, that left Jacksonport for the Civil War, to go fight in the Civil War. And in front of it is a Civil War cannon that we have here. We also have a steamboat. Well, it was a steamboat, it's a paddle boat, and it did originally have steam engines on it, but it's not a 19th century steamboat. It's a 20th century steamboat, and most folks don't understand it. Yeah, there were steamboats in the 20th century. This was built in the 1930s, so that tells you how steam was being used primarily on the rivers still at that time. And it was a work boat. It was used here in Arkansas to push barges of logs from areas of logging down to the sawmill. Rather than trying to truck them, because if they trucked them it was a seasonal operation, whereas by using the river they could get into those areas during high water like you see today and get the logs out to the sawmill to make it a year-round operation for logging. This was also a town, Jacksonport. It was a riverboat town. It was an important part of the Civil War for the state of Arkansas in trying to control the White River. So this town was occupied by 5 different generals at one time, over the time of the period of the Civil War, starting with the Union Army coming down here in 1862, occupying the town and trying to control the river. If you control the rivers in Arkansas, you control the state. And that's what the Union Army was trying to do here in the Civil War.
There is another section of Jacksonport State Park that's not too well known, the undeveloped cypress tree area where the White River and Black River converge.
It's part of the park, it's the undeveloped area, and it's sort of a remnant of some of the cypress woods that you'd find this far down on the river in this area. And it has the cypress trees, the big knees, everything that you would see in a cypress wooded area. It also shows the different stages of forest succession, going all the way to the cottonwoods, starting with the cypress, the cottonwoods, all the way up to the hardwoods. In that little piece of land that we have, you can see as the different forests succeed to one type of forest to another over the years.
And if you're lucky, you can see, I understand, some blue herons and other wildlife.
There's great blue herons. During the summer I like to hang in the undeveloped area because of the visitors we had down on the beach and the area that they like to fish, but they don't like the visitors, so they go back to the undeveloped area in the summertime.
So pay a visit to Jacksonport State Park in Newport and experience the riverport and Civil War history here. Or take a hike to that Native American bluff shelter at Petit Mountain State Park and view for yourself those amazing pictographs. Or explore all the scenic beauty at Lost Valley in the Buffalo National River region. And for more info on these and other destinations, visit our website, aetn.org/exploringarkansas. And we'll see you again the next time for another exciting adventure on Exploring Arkansas.